All right. Welcome into the show. Jake's Takes. We're on episode 13. Kind of nuts, kind of nuts. I figured I'd do this one myself. We're going to just do a little bit of NFL football. There's been some things that happen. I want to talk about the Lions. So it's going to be good. This is going to be a good podcast. We're going to talk about a little bit what the Lions are doing, how they're looking this year. We'll talk a little Aaron Rodgers situation. So let's get to it. All right. So Detroit. Okay. We ended the year. We beat the Packers. We were so close to making a playoff run. It was unbelievable. This was one of the most exciting years to be a Lions fan ever because we made a crazy run near the end of the season and almost got back into the playoffs. And that was huge. That was huge. But the whole year, what we were looking at is our defense was not there. It just wasn't. Our defense was not good. I didn't love Aaron Glenn's coaching. I'm still not the biggest Aaron Glenn fan in the world, but we still have him, and I got to be thankful for what we got, right? So our big need going into the year was cornerback, and every mock draft I'm seeing, we're going quarterback. We're going like Devin Witherspoon, someone in the draft at corner, and I'm like, I don't love this. I really don't because it reminds me of Okudah so much. And Okudah has turned into a solid player, but he's not the number 2 overall pick. He's just not. Like, we picked him so high, and it's just like, come on, I think he was 2 or 3, but like, still, the cornerback to me, you can't pick it that high unless you know it's the real deal. Like Sauce Gardner, he was the real deal. That's why he went 4, and he turned into the best cornerback in football this year. So to me, you got to pick a corner if you're sure. You're 100% sure in that position, okay? But what the Lions did this year was they went all in on free agency. All in. And boy, am I happy. Like, I am 1,000% happy because, like, if you're the Lions, you really haven't done that, You just haven't done that. And getting corners this year is huge because that's our biggest weakness. It is. Like, Okudah has not been the guy. He just hasn't. We've had so many cornerback issues. And the fact of the matter is like Hutchinson, he had a good year. He was able to get pressure. But, like, we would just have guys go off on us. Like, Okudah he'd have to guard the best guy, and he just wouldn't do well. Like, I think his first couple games he went against like Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, like all those guys, and they really just tore him apart. And I feel like that tore with his confidence a little bit, and he just hasn't been the guy we drafted. He looked a little better at the start of this year, and then he was dealing with a lot of injury stuff, so I don't know. It is what it is. But what we did was really load up on the D-backs and the safeties, which was absolutely huge, and I loved it. So the first guy we got was Emmanuel Mosley. And this guy is really good. I really like the get here. It just added to our depth. He wasn't like crazy or anything, but also added to our depth. Same thing with Cameron Sutton. Like, these guys, they're solid D-backs coming from good organizations, and they just add more to our depth and can really help us. But the guy that really was huge was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Him deciding, okay, I want to go to the Lions, it changes our perspective on this year. It's going to make us absolutely huge, and I'm really excited because if a guy like that wants to come for a 1-year, $8 million contract, right after he just made the Super Bowl, like, you can tell that, okay, the Lions are going to be for real next year because people are seeing them and they're like, okay, they're here. And then they also signed David Montgomery. A lot of people were very meh about the signing because Jamal Williams left us in free agency because of it. Jamal Williams said some things that the Lions didn't offer him a great contract and he went elsewhere. But the thing is, in my opinion, and I mean, I was talking to a few friends and they didn't love it, but in my opinion, it's okay. Go somewhere else because he had 14 touchdowns or whatever last year, but most of the time we just got stuffed at the 1 and we just gave him the touchdown. So it's like, anybody can do that. And to me, running back, you don't need a great running back. Like, personally, for me, I think David Montgomery is better than Jamal Williams, 1,000%. And if you're crazy if you say anything like that. But the only problem is Montgomery and Swift both have their injury problems. But the thing is with running back is that you can just put somebody in there, and if you have a good O-line, they're going to do well because they're good enough to be a running back in the National Football League. And with a good O-line, it's difficult. Like, it's difficult to be bad because your O-line is going to open up so many holes, and you've been playing running back your whole life, so you're able to read those holes and react. So to me, I think this David Montgomery signing is really good. With the Bears, he had his best seasons when he had some of the best O-lines. And he's had really good running back seasons. He's been up in the top 10 many of times. And now you got a guy like Swift and a guy like Montgomery. They're both kind of similar type backs, but they'll be there for each other in case needed. So like if Swift needed an off day, we'd rely on Montgomery more. If Montgomery got injured, we could rely on Swift more, you know? So I think it will really help us in the long run. And then we also helped on the guard position, just the depth, getting Graham Glasgow, which is a big get. And the Lions are stacked in the draft, too. We got 6, 18, 48, and 55 in the draft. So we'll see if you're a Detroit fan, you know. I want to keep this brief for Detroit, but I like what the Lions are doing. We're putting ourselves in a great position. And now with Aaron Rodgers going out of the NFC North because he just requested a trade from the Packers, he wants to go to the Jets. So with Aaron Rodgers leaving the NFC North, it's like, okay, you know, we could do something here. We're the best team in the NFC North now. We are. The Vikings, they didn't do what they were supposed to do last year. They fell through, and they're going to bring that same team back and be very difficult, but we're stacked now. And we can beat the Vikings. That game in Minnesota, we should have won 100%. We were right there, so close. There were so many of those games at the beginning of the year. And then we finally put it all together. And we destroyed them at Ford Field. Destroyed them. Like, we looked really good. We can beat the Vikings. The Bears are still rebuilding. They just traded out of the first overall pick. I don't love what they're doing in Chicago. So if you're a Lions fan, you should be 100% excited because I'm really excited for this next year. And with these guys coming in, like, it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really fun. I think now looking at the 6th overall pick, I really like D tackle here. I'm saying maybe go Jalen Carter, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of stuff going around about him with the allegations and stuff like that. But I like him. I mean, he's supposedly the most talented player in the draft. So it's hard to pass on that, for me at least. I get it. There's a lot of issues there. So if you don't want any part of the issues, that's fine. But like if Tyree Wilson or a Myles Murphy, those are two, that's an edge rusher and another D tackle. If they're not there, I don't know who else to pick, really. So to me, I kind of want Jalen Carter, but we'll see what the Lions do. Get into the Aaron Rodgers thing a little bit. I just want to talk about it a little bit before we get to college basketball. But Aaron Rodgers, he is going to be successful on the Jets. They're getting receivers for him. They're getting whatever he wants. And I think he's going to be successful here. I think Robert Sala's great coach. From what I've heard about him, everybody loves him. He's a very likable guy. He'll work with that defense. That defense is one of the best defenses in football. And I think Rodgers will be successful with that offense. I think it's going to take time. He always, the first game of the season, do not bet on him the first game of the season because it's bad. It's really bad. And then I think he's going to make adjustments and be very good. So with the Jets, like, we'll see. I think it'll be a little bit like Brett Favre, you know, which is kind of cool for him because that's who he grew behind and became, you know. And we'll see. We'll see. But if you're a Lions fan, Rodgers' last game in Green Bay, we beat him in Lambeau. That's saying something. That's awesome. So I think if you're a Lions fan, you're feeling really good. If you're Aaron Rodgers, you're feeling good. If you're an NFC North guy, you're like, wait, are the Lions the favorite? Like, what's going on there? So I'm really excited. we'll see how it rolls with the NFL. The NFL draft's coming up soon. We'll get to more NFL draft topics soon. But I wanted to give you my excitement of the NFL just real quick. So let's get to some college basketball.